name is Ray Naylor. This is the Performing Songwriter, episode 14th. My guest today is Larry Ahearn. He began working in the 1960s at the Main Point in Bryn Mawr, PA, Philadelphia's most well-known folk venue at that time. For 11 years, he managed the Main Point, many of the Main Point operations, including booking, promoting, producing many of the legendary shows that took place at the Main Point during its golden years. During that time, he began to write and perform his own music as a solo artist, and later formed the Larry Ahearn Group, sharing the bill with artists such as Tom Rush, Jimmy Buffett, Livingston Taylor, Janis Ian, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Pearls Before Swine, and John Prine. He was a team member of the Concerts for Human Rights Tour with Bruce Springsteen, Sting, and others. Larry found himself in China in 2004 and 2005 with the Harlem Globetrotters. He returned to the U.S., resuming his first love, which is writing and performing songs. In addition to his own performing, he is currently the Director of Artist Operations at Trespass Music, booking and promoting the Trespass roster, and also managing master songwriter Craig Bickhardt. Larry, that was a long introduction.
Yeah.
But you've done a lot of stuff.
Who wrote that?
I didn't. I stole it off Trespass's website. So you've had a heck of a lot of experience over the years in a lot of different areas. But I wanted to specifically ask you to give like a short history of your songwriting and also your performing, how long you've been doing it, and that type of thing.
Well, I started playing out at a time when songwriting began to be the style. Prior to that, actually prior to James Taylor and all those folks, the singer-songwriter wasn't a thing.
Really,
to write your own songs was a big deal.
Yeah. What he got through one of the small examples, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. You're right. But Neil Diamond used to write songs for other people. Carole King used to write songs for other people.
Right.
Neil Sedaka used to write songs for other people, and then so the writer of the song performing the song was just coming into vogue at that time, and so being in the club. I don't call the Main Point a folk club because we had just as much jazz and comedy and everything else. But being there and influenced by folks that came through, whether it was the Chris Smithers of the world or John Prines of the world, whatever, James Taylor, come to think of it, you would try and write songs as well. And they came out as amateurish and sophomoric as they do in the beginning. And since then, it's been off and on. I'm not a prolific songwriter, but I've learned just through my association with Craig Bickhardt and some of the folks that we've presented, Don Henry and Buddy Monlock and Tom Schuyler and all those people. I realized that late in life, actually, that writing is an extraordinarily arduous, difficult task that doesn't come easy all the time for anybody or everybody. Every once in a while, you sit down and write a song in a half an hour, but that's not the norm. And for me, it really isn't the norm. As a matter of fact, one of the songs I'm going to do today, it went through 3 or 4 rewrites over the course of 20 years, and I'm only 25. So,
I'm 26.
Yeah, right.
Well, I love your songs, and I'm going to ask you
you
to do one now.
All right. This actually covers a lot of territory from back then to now. I was gonna tell you the name of it, but I don't think I've named it yet. We'll name it now. We'll call it the Princess and the Thief. Once upon a time there was a princess She fell into the arms of the good thief. He was looking for an easy way to heaven. She was simply looking there for some relief. The princess caught the thief. I've got these walls, the ceiling and the floor. I got this feeling that I've never had before. I've got this feeling that I don't have you anymore. Once upon a time there was a sailor. He rode a summer wind across the sea. And we wondered where that magic wind had come from. I looked at you and you looked back at me. The sailor said, you see, that's wing wind from a falling angel whispering in your ear that you're running from the truth and every other thing you fear. I got this feeling you won't be back here anymore. Once upon a time there was a dealer. He told us all he had the only key, the finest and the fastest transportation. He said he had the final remedy. The dealer had the key. I've got these walls, the ceiling and the floor. I've got this mirror, the hallway and the door. I got this feeling that I don't have you anymore. Anymore. Well, the princess and the thief was just a story. The sailor never came back from the sea. And the dealer left us all behind for glory. And when he left, I caught him looking for the key. He's looking back at me. And I've got these walls, the ceiling and the floor. I got this feeling that I've never had before. I got this feeling that I don't have you. I've got this feeling that I don't have you anymore. Anymore.
I like that song. Yeah, wait, is that a song you recently wrote then?
I recently finished. Actually, a couple of years ago. I wrote it recently, though. A lot of the things I did, I kind of started years and years ago and moved to California and forgot about it. But yeah, it's kind of I started, one of the working titles was a fairy tale for aging hippies, but it's kind of, I try to cover a lot of territory with it. And my hero, Jake Bickhardt, Craig's son, we were with the Ronstadts one night. We were just passing the guitar around playing, and Jake said, "You know, Larry, you know, that song sounds autobiographical." And I said, "Oh, I was hoping, didn't know that, you know." But I like the song though.
Yeah.
The chorus is kind of almost a country chorus, like a Tom T. Hall, I don't know, Eddie Arnold kind of chorus, you know. I got the walls, the ceiling, and the floor. But and I also collaborated on one of the verses with a friend of mine, Joe Ahearn, who used to also work at the Main Point. So I guess we'll call that a collaboration.
There you go.
Yeah.
Our songwriting topic today for you, you know, not only are a songwriter and performer, but you've been in the music business, working with other artists and all the stuff we talked about earlier. And when you, let's say, when you looked for people to book, for example, as far as their songwriting, was there certain things that you looked for to kind of say, yeah, this person, we really like his songs because whatever, I want to try to book him. This person, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and I get it often. And what I have to remind people all the time is that the primary job of a booker is to fill seats. And all kidding aside, but interestingly enough, some of those questions and ideas come into play if you're going to book them again. And keep in mind that, and we all forgot this years ago in the business, but the most important person in the room is the audience.
Right.
So I could easily, and I have many times, booked somebody that I really didn't think was great, but the audience absolutely loved them. And you know, if you only book, and this is a mantra in the music business, if you only book the people you like, you're not going to be in business long at all.
Yeah.
But that said, you know, and Tom Rush is a great example, an extraordinary entertainer, and but he wasn't originally a songwriter at all, and has only recently, later in his career, become known for some of his songwriting. But he was a song finder.
Yeah.
And we first heard of Jackson Browne from Tom Rush. These days, we first heard of Joni Mitchell from Tom Rush, Urge for Going. We first heard of Guy Clark from Tom Rush. We first heard of a lot of people from Tom Rush, and so I guess he delivered songs marvelously, and he found songs marvelously, and he entertained the audience, and still does remarkably well. So writing is important, but sometimes, you know, I've said this a number of times, but you know, we all look back on Townes Van Zandt as a great writer, and I will tell you that the first time he played the Main Point, nobody got him because he wasn't delivering the songs as well as, you know, looking back, I'm embarrassed that I didn't get him, but we didn't get him.
Well, you know, this show is called The Performing Songwriter for exactly that reason.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about the song, it's about the performance. And we're going to talk basically the same kind of question when we get back and talking about the performing end of it. So absolutely. And as far as filling the seats, I know exactly what you mean. I used to book some, like, coffee houses in the 90s, small places.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get people that were good, either, you know, performing and or songwriting or both, because I wanted people to come and say, I don't know who this person is, but it's always good music.
Yeah.
You know,
that's everybody's dream to have.
Yeah.
It. And originally we had that. People would call. A lot of times, whether it was at the Tower Theater later in my career or at the Main Point early, we would answer the phone to see what people were asking. Because you really had a one-on-one with the audience. And early on, people would say, who's going to play there? What they like? What do they like? And you know, and what a wonderful thing, because there's a predisposition on their part to go. But what I often say, the performing songwriter, is you're a songwriter and you're a performer, but what you really are, and you have to remember this, is you're in the entertainment business.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes in an 8-song set, a lot of us have a tendency to write in the same key,
right,
and in the same tempo sometimes. And I've seen 6, 7, 8-song sets of the same song. Mix it up. You don't have to do all your own songs.
Right, exactly.
You know, as a matter of fact, one of the songs when I play out, one of the songs I get the best response on is Love Potion Number 9 from 1957.
Yeah.
But I have fun with it, you know. So you have fun with the audience too.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, they're the most important thing. And how you felt about, you know, Shirley leaving you back in whenever can be poetic if it's delivered correctly.
Right.
You know.
I was going to ask you a question, but you kind of answered it, which was, have you learned things from other performers in terms of their songwriting that you've incorporated into your... But you kind of answered that already.
Yeah, I ask myself that question sometimes, and because I've been adjacent to, exposed to, in the audience for so many that I wonder sometimes. I think I can't put my finger on anyone in specifically, other than just the tenacity and the stick-to-itiveness of people like Chris Smither. I mean, he'd been doing this for 50 years, you know, since before I was born. And,
me too.
Little bits and pieces of things, the way people use timing. You know, I used to, you know, comedians are a big part of how I was influenced because they were up there without one of these.
Right.
You know how gutsy that is?
Mm-hmm.
Try being up on stage without one of these in your hand. I mean, this is like a wall. You know? and so just timing and how you relate to things, how you relate to the audience. It's performing songwriters need to know that there's the music. How many songwriters these days, or people who say they're songwriters, forget that there's a melody here, and it has to change.
Yeah.
Melody and tempo. You don't have C, A minor, F, G, D, B. There's all kinds of different ways to write melodies, and you got to explore them and take it to its limits, you know. And so there's the melody and the song, and there's the performing of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And the better you perform the song, or you know, you have to learn how to play the guitar. And when you become the best guitar player on your block, get a new block. Because I'm telling you, you walk into Sam Ash or the Guitar Center, and there's always a 16-year-old that can play. Oh, my God. So
well, I'm the best guitar player in this house.
Okay.
That's the best I can say. Okay, I'm going to do a song, and it's actually I did this song right after I wrote it on this show before Nick Everett was here. So it's called "The House That I Grew Up In," which is now has been knocked down.
Oh.
The house that I grew up in isn't anymore. Walls are in a landfill, and so are all the floors. My bedroom in the corner no longer holds my dreams. I guess no one could love it, so it seems. And at night the floors would creak and moan. It scared me half to death. The spiders in the basement, they took away my breath. I saw ghosts when it was dark, only in my head. I could always get away if I hid beneath my bed. In the attic was an old trunk filled with pictures from the past. Newspapers from World War II, I guess they didn't last. I'd open up my toy box and play with my train set. My mother yelled, "Put that away, it isn't Christmas yet." Outside there was a maple tree, I'd climb up to the top. My father tilled his garden and then he'd plant his crops. The backyard was big and we'd play football any day. And there was always hide and seek, our favorite game to play. Yes, the house that I grew up in is now a great big hole. They're building a brand new one, that's what I've been told. But I won't forget the memories when I was just a kid of this great big house, the place where I once lived. Now it's time for our Skype interview with Jesse Terry. And I know you know Jesse, so maybe you could say a couple things about him.
Hi, Jesse. Jesse's extraordinary. He wins over an audience with a song and a smile easier and better than most people I know. He's a natural, and he's also the kind of guy that would drive 500 miles to sing one song to two people or two songs to one person.
Wow.
He's great.
Okay, we'll be back after I talk to Jesse, and we're going to hear some of his. Within 2 months of graduating from the Berklee College of Music, my guest Jesse Terry landed a publishing deal in Nashville. He is an award-winning songwriter, earning the grand prize in the John Lennon Songwriting Contest, as well as a winner in the CMT NSAI Song Contest. He tours worldwide and has 3 full-length CDs. Jesse Terry, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate you being here. I was going to ask you to just give us a brief history of your performing as a performing songwriter.
Yeah. Well, I started touring full time in kind of late 2010, and just jumped right into it. Didn't have a backup plan or a part-time job or anything like that, and I just really cruised around the country. Didn't have an apartment for a little while. Just toured nonstop with my wife and my dog, and I pretty much. I mean, things have grown and continued to get better and better. And the gigs have gotten better and better, but I still pretty much do the same thing, except we have an apartment now, and I don't play quite as many gigs as I used to.
Our topic for songwriting today, and I also talked with Larry, who's on the show, as you know, today. And both of you have had contact with, I would say, the music business part of music. And
Sure.
as I mentioned before, you had landed the publishing deal in Nashville. So I guess my question is for people that, well, I was going to say for people that would like to have their songs sold, we all would, but for those people that actually do something to take some action to have that happen, what can you tell us from your experience? What people like record companies, publishers, etc., what they look for in songs?
Oh, that's a really good question. Tough question. I feel like all people resonate with truth and and folks that are authentic in their music. It doesn't mean that your music is necessarily the right fit for, let's say, like a Nashville publishing deal. I'm not sure. It doesn't mean that you can't expand and learn other styles and expand your art and your craft. I think that's a very good thing. But I think they respond to truth. So I try not to chase too many things. I just try to write, the song that's that's in the room for me that day, and that I'm feeling that day, and then kind of see where it lands after that.
Right.
Not think too much about the business as I'm writing. That I did that when I was younger, and that can be very stressful.
I'm sure.
And also really lead to some very contrived music with not a lot of soul in it, in my opinion.
Did you do co-writing when you were in Nashville?
Yeah, I did like a ton in Nashville, like pretty much 5 days a week for about 5 years.
Wow.
Enough to burn me out on it actually for a little while.
I bet.
But I mean, luckily, I love writing by myself. I love co-writing again. I took about a 3-year break from it after my publishing deal ended in 2009. And that was really good. That's where I started, and also just kind of find out who exactly I am as a writer. Because if you're writing with different writers every day of the week, a 60-year-old dude on Monday and a 15-year-old girl on Tuesday, it starts to, the possibility of getting confused is certainly there.
Right.
Or at least it was for me. That kind of chameleon thing. If you're a staff writer.
Okay, Jesse, we're going to listen to a song, but because we're having a little problem with the connection here, instead of you singing live, which we were going to do, which is why you have your guitar, we're going to do. I'm going to make up a slideshow with 2 of your recorded songs. I'm going to have you do 2 songs, and so I'm going to ask you to explain your first song, and then we'll take a look at the slideshow and hear your recorded version.
Oh yeah, that's groovy. Yeah, so this song I was going to play, it's called "Let the Blue Skies Go to Your Head." It's inspired by kind of a negative person, actually, a lovely person, but a negative person. And but the song's been really great to me. It's about believing in the good times, and it's been on a few TV shows. One called "The Heart of Dixie" on CW Network, and on a show called Road Trip Nation on PBS, and it's just been a wonderful song for me.
Cool. Okay, so let's give it a listen.
Yeah, it's there in your driveway, about 8:45. You can hear the boardwalk and the carnival rides, and it's much too early just to sit at home. But you only see thorns as he hands you a rose, as you lean on the hood of his car. His engine's warm, he's waiting for you. Tell me what you got to lose. It's so hard for you to believe it's something real. You're always counting on rain, like it's always gonna fall the same. Oh, don't go inside, don't you play dead. Honey, let the blue skies go to your head. You see a flash of your childhood in his halogen lights. You can picture him leaving without a goodbye. You gotta push that away, girl, or you'll never get out. And this cruel old world will keep crumbling down. You ain't always gonna be this young. His engine's warm, he's waiting for you. Tell me what you got to lose. It's so hard for you to believe it's something real. You're always counting on rain, like it's always gonna fall the same. Oh, don't go inside, don't you play dead. Honey, let the blue skies go to your head. Oh, oh, oh. It's a long, hard fall. Oh, 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 oh. But you can't lose them all. Oh, you always counting on rain, like it's always gonna fall the same. Oh, don't go inside, don't you play dead, honey, let the blue skies go to your head. Don't go inside, don't you play dead, honey, let the blue skies go to your head.
Okay, yeah, I like that song. I liked it a lot.
Cool, man. Thank you.
And we'll talk a little bit about performing. And now you went to the Berklee College of Music, and I looked in their website, and I see they have a whole track on performing. And I don't know whether I assume you probably had at least some classes in that while you were there. And
Yeah.
also, I guess really what my question is, what's the best way, from your point of view, for people to learn performing skills? Can you learn it from a class? Is it that, or do you just need to have the experience over time, or is it a combination?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a combination. I mean, I took a class there that a lot of folks kind of really credit in their performing careers, whether they went to Berklee or not. Livingston Taylor teaches a class there called Stage Performance Techniques,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a book by the same title. And I mean, to this day, including, if I was going to perform right now, I would use techniques in that book. Just all kinds of little tricks and just things. There's so many emotional things that go into performing.
Mm-hmm.
Just believing that the audience wants to like you and wants to have a great night, and they don't go out to dislike the performer. I mean, it's just
Right.
So. I mean, to keep those things in your mind, to picture yourself having a great show and a great performance, and being, not being nervous. All those things are really powerful. But of course, I mean, going out and playing a lot, for most people, is the only way to really be a truly seasoned performer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always continuing to work on that. And but yeah, I mean, when I first started touring, I was terrified of my audience. I couldn't talk with them. I couldn't tell them stories. Now I have to make sure I cut my stories short, so I'm not telling more stories than singing songs. But I learned that people really enjoy that. They really want. If they just wanted to hear the songs, they would just chill at home and put on a record.
Put the record on, or CD.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the live performance has to give a little something more. And for that to happen, I think you really have to not be afraid of your audience and kind of break down the walls between you and your audience, and
Mm-hmm.
just embrace them and let them embrace you, without any fear.
Right. We're going to listen to another song. So what are we going to listen to here?
So this is a song off my latest album. It's a song called Marina. It was inspired by this blog called The Opposite of Loneliness, which was written by a girl named Ricky who graduated Yale and then passed away 5 days after graduation. Really tragic thing. But this blog was just really, really hit me and really inspired me, and just literally made me sob. And I wrote this song, and since then, Marina, they took all of her work, and Scribner Press released it, and it was a New York Times bestseller. And she was just a brilliant, amazing girl, and I'm really glad that my wife sent me this blog that inspired this song.
Okay, so let's give it a listen.
half a mural on a wall, swirling sunsets, metallic stars, and she gets home late, just another night. Words stream out above street lights. I picture her far off stare. She could have gone anywhere. Instead she's bouncing off all the satellites. Some things never will die. Oh, Marina. Oh, my, the song comes slow for a face I did not know, for some words now etched in stone and in my mind. Oh, my skin face, I hate to see the light like this. The opposite of loneliness is where I am. Oh, Marina, why'd you have to go? Why'd you have to go? Amber hair in a photograph. She's trying hard not to laugh. I woke up today feeling so damn young, free to go where the muse may run. Oh, Marina. Oh, my, the song comes slow for a face I did not know, for some words now etched in stone and in my mind. Oh, my skin face, I hate to see the light like this. The opposite of loneliness is where I am. Oh, Marina, thanks for passing through, my friend. I swear I'll always look ahead. It's all that matters in the end. Oh, my, the song comes slow for a face I did not know, for some words now etched in stone and in my mind. Oh, my skin face, I hate to see the light like this. The opposite of loneliness is where I am. Oh, Marina, why'd you have to go? Why'd you have to go?
Awesome.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I was looking at some of your videos. You recorded video on that, correct? In New Zealand or someplace?
Yeah, I finished it. I finished the song. My wife's a Kiwi, so I finished the song on our last trip to New Zealand, actually, a couple years ago.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you, if people want to see where you're playing, buy your music, learn more about you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, my website is the best way. I have a pretty busy tour schedule, which I'm always into.
Mhm.
And that's jesseterrymusic.com, JESSETERRY music. My Facebook is jterrymusic. Instagram is Jesse Terry, so I'm very kind of active on all those things. And my website has a store with signed CDs and vinyl records and T-shirts and all that good stuff, which helps us pay. Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to be in the Philadelphia area in March, the end of March.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in the studio here too.
Well, actually, I just finished recording. I've been in Philly.
Not that studio. Actually, here in my house.
Oh, yes.
So we'll be able to hear you sing live then, for sure.
Absolutely, that would be fun. I always prefer that over Skype.
Well, look, thank you very much, Jesse, and look forward to seeing you in March also.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Okay, take it easy.
Are you too?
Thanks to Jesse for being our Skype interview today. And Larry, I'm going to have you do another song.
Okay. This is called In Summer. I fool around with the general song form with this because I put a little epilogue on it. Sometimes I do that because I like to, and it's different. Those are two things that keep in mind. Last night, I played the jukebox like a piano. It was my friend for a while. It's funny how a song could bring me back to you. I played the evening like a summer. It started warm. You were there, and by August I was drinking much too much to even care. I saw your car turn around the corner. I forced a wave and a smile. We need more than we settled for in the summer. I think it's funny how the walls go up and we both seem to go down. Behind the dreams we had flown here on wings of summer. Hands of time, hearts of fear, we're all stuck in the middle here, and I feel it all just slipping away. We were young, running free, you could recognize the enemy just in time to hear yourself wake up and say, last night I played the jukebox like a piano. I thought I'd go out in style. Your eyes kept drifting over here. I stuck around a while. I played it all just like a summer. Started warm. You were there, and by August I was drinking much too much to even care. Last night, I played the jukebox like a piano. It was my friend for a while. In the beauty of an angel's sin, her hair fell down all over him. In the beauty of an angel's sin, her hair fell down all over him.
Not only do I like your songs, but you have a very unique voice.
Oh, thank you.
I like your voice too. Yeah.
You like it, okay.
I like
because
your
unique could mean many things, Ray.
No, I've meant it as a compliment.
Thank you.
Um,
Appreciate it.
we talked a little bit about when we talked about songwriting about the importance of performing. So we have talked about that a little bit. But with your experience, as far as how people that you have worked with and want to work with, wanted to book, in the venues that you worked in terms of their performance, what kind of things really stood out that said, yeah, I'm glad I booked him, or I'm glad I'm working with him, or I want to work with him, I want to book him?
Well, inspiration. If you're inspired by somebody, and once again, when you're looking, you're somewhat detached from the audience, but you're a part of it at the same time. As a matter of fact, I find that there's a world of difference between standing against the back wall at a venue watching somebody and sitting in a seat as a part of the audience. But once again, the audience is the ultimate determinant. I mean, if you can tell by their reaction whether this person is getting to them or not, and getting through to them and inspiring them and engaging them. Because, when you're working in a venue, you get a little jaded and you're not often, at your best. And as a result, it's the fifth show you've seen in 3 days, and your eyes are crossed. But the audience knows, and but as far as the writing goes, you can tell. I'm fortunate because I've been around enough songs and songwriters and song deliverers, performers to know what's good. Who's that Chief Justice of the Supreme Court said, I don't know what porn is, but I know it when I see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know what a good song is. You just listen to Jimmy Webb, listen to Guy Clark, listen to Craig Bickhardt, listen to Sean Colvin or Bruce Coburn. These people are geniuses, and you can tell, I mean, you hear this song, that song, and the other song, and then Craig Bickhardt will play Crazy Nightingale, and all of a sudden it's like you're in a museum. And Bruce Coburn will play Pacing the Cage. Pacing the Cage. And I mean, all of a sudden, boy, this has jumped a step function, But as far as looking for them, all kidding aside, when the audience is laughing, when the audience is applauding, there's sustained applause. When people are leaving going, wow, he or she was great, that's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for an audience that can't wait to come back and see this person.
Well, a lot of the stuff I learned about performing, I learned being a magician.
Well, as I said about comedian, the same thing.
Yeah.
You're standing up there with one of these.
And one book I have which is mostly all of it is on performing. And he said when he's up there, what his goal is that when he's done, people in the audience said, I could do anything. I could have been home watching TV. I could have went to a movie, but I'm glad I came here.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
if you can do that,
yeah.
that's it.
Right. And unlike 50 years ago, the audience had a whole lot more options now than they did before. I mean, they have a lot of options, and they're not terrible options either.
They didn't have TV a long time ago.
They didn't?
No. Well, you weren't born yet. So. Let's hear your final song here.
Oh, okay. I grew up on the coast of Massachusetts. And naturally, having never touched a gun or a cow or a horse for that matter, I started writing cowboy songs. And somebody suggested that I stop. So this is called The Last Cowboy Song. And as I remind people, it wasn't. So... riding through a desert night on his way to Tennessee. Running from the other night when he found his wife with me. He used to be a friend of yours, my God, she turned and said to me, better slow down, cowboy, better take another trail. You better ride a little easier, you find yourself in jail. You find yourself in jail. In jail he was for a year or so, till he escaped to Mexico with a dark-eyed senorita there by his side. That was long ago, you see. His partner looked a lot like me, and his horse and his women were fast and free. I had an alibi. Better slow down, cowboy, better take another trail. You better ride a little easier, you find yourself in jail. You find yourself in jail. But me and the Pecos River, we had an alibi. We just keep rolling on, you know, and we just keep rolling by and by and by and by and by. By and by and by and by and by. One is for the number, two is for the gun, three is for the mothers, one and only lonely son. Four is for the reason, five is for the crime. Could it be, he said to me, you're gonna die before your time. Better slow down, cowboy, better take another trail. You better ride a little easier, you find yourself in jail. You better slow down, cowboy, better take another trail. You better ride a little easier, you find yourself in jail. You find yourself in jail.
You know who I thought of in that song? Guy Clark.
Really?
I can see him writing that song.
No, I interesting. Well, that's nice to hear. I wrote that before I ever knew Guy Clark, so I'm safe.
Yeah. Well, that could be a Guy Clark song for sure.
Yeah, great. That's good to hear. I think.
Now, I know you're not the kind of person that promotes yourself as a songwriter per se, but if people want to learn more about you, are you any way they can do that?
Excuse me. Well, I keep threatening to grow up and get a website and stuff, but I haven't. Be honest with you, I really need to do that. I need to record a little. I've had sort of an aversion to recording. But right now, I mean, just the trespassmusic.org website, there's a little something about me. And on Ray's show.
That's right. The other show I did, you were on there.
Oh, yeah. But coming soon to a computer near you will be LarryAhearn.com. I pay for it every year, $15 or whatever it is. I don't know.
Do you find, in the 90s, I worked with three different songwriters as their quote-unquote manager with a small M. Uh-huh. And I always like to say it's trying to manage musicians is like trying to herd cats, you know.
Wrestle alligators.
And I had no problem promoting them. Myself,
yeah,
it's difficult. Do you find that too?
Yeah, and I find people with whom I work at times. Some people like Jesse Terry. He's just a natural. it's not like he's promoting himself, but he is.
Yeah.
And
well,
other
yeah.
people are very reticent about it, and it's just not in their nature. Interestingly enough, part of this wonderful DIY music world that we live in, you can record your own songs, studio quality in your closet. You can distribute your music without the use of a record company, but you also have to promote yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of the work the other people did.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of the new music business and the DIY music world that people take advantage of. Once again, the technology and recording, et cetera, but they also have to realize that it's a lot of that work, was done by somebody else, and now you got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these songwriters, they had other people recording their songs, and the other people's record company was promoting those songs, and et cetera, et cetera. And now it's all you.
Exactly.
It's all you.
Yeah.
And if it ain't getting done by you, there's a real good chance it ain't getting done. And you get to control it. You don't open up a magazine and see a horrible picture of you or something.
Right.
But at the same time, it's work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like any other work, only you make less money and it's harder.
I want to talk about next show before we go. Now, my in-studio guest is someone that I don't know, but I found her, I stumbled on her on the internet, I guess you'd say. And her name is Jeanette Lynn. I don't know if that rings a bell.
No, it doesn't. No.
But amongst other things, she was a finalist in the Philadelphia Songwriters Project, one of their contests,
Mm-hmm.
which, I would say some of the best Philly songwriters have won those contests. I would say her style is kind of like folk pop type thing. And so I'm looking forward to that and meeting her. Now, our Skype guest, someone that I've actually, in the 90s, I had booked her. At that time, I believe she lived in Arizona or something. Now I think she lives in Canada. And that's Jamie Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
And just to say some things that she's accomplished, which kind of like talks about her. She's played in hundreds of venues in 4 different countries, including 47 of the U.S. states and 3 Canadian provinces. Her music was featured on Good Morning America and Dr. Demento as an example, and also NPR's Car Talk.
Oh, great.
So I just have to tell you, she's good. So I'm looking forward to both of those.
Sounds great. So am I.
Larry, thanks a lot for coming in.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good to be here.
And we'll be back in a couple weeks.